Some lives aren't lived. They are meticulously designed. Every perceived flaw, every lauded strength, every defining choice, predestined. You think this is about character development? It isn't. It's about a cage cleverly built around an individual from birth. This is what it's really about. The threat of losing your own narrative to an unseen architect. And what does that make you, the observer, complicit in? You recognize him, Killua Zoldyck. The prodigy, the loyal friend, the one who broke free from a monstrous family. He is agile, intelligent, fiercely protective. We see him as a symbol of defiance, a child choosing his own path against impossible odds. But that story, as comfortable as it feels, is merely the surface, a powerful deception designed to obscure a deeper truth. He was never truly a child deciding for himself. Killua Zoldyck was not simply raised, he was cultivated. Every scar, every shock, every whispered command shaped him. His childhood wasn't about learning, it was about programming. The Zoldyck family understood control not as a blunt instrument, but as an invisible architecture. You think this is natural talent? It isn't. The poison immunity, the lightning-fast reflexes, the unnerving calm in the face of death, these are deliberate design specifications. You believe his independence blossomed organically. But here's the contradiction. His freedom was initially framed by the very limitations he was engineered to overcome. His strength in solitude, his ability to execute without hesitation, these were not chosen virtues. They were the tools of his masters, repurposed for a personal narrative. And this is the mistake everyone misses. He believed he was breaking chains, but some chains are internal, invisible, guiding your hand even when you feel unbound. Consider Illumi's needle. It wasn't just a physical implant, it was a physical manifestation of a psychological program. It created an artificial fear, a paralysis when Killua needed to act on his own deepest instincts, a constant, subtle override. This isn't just plot, it's a masterclass in how external control can become an internalized barrier, whispering a constant no to your impulses. You might dismiss this as fiction, but how often do you find yourself paralyzed by an invisible voice? An internalized should or must not that prevents you from taking a necessary risk. A fear that isn't truly yours, but programmed into your reactions by expectation, by upbringing, by the silent agreements you made to survive. That is Killua's deeper struggle, and yours. Killua chose Gon. He chose friendship over assassination. A powerful narrative of self-determination, yes. But his initial definition of protecting Gon was often a reflection of his own training: eliminate threats, maintain distance, never truly rely. Even his fierce loyalty was an extension of his engineered capacity for intense attachment, once that attachment was allowed to form. It's a different form of control. His journey wasn't about finding himself. It was about meticulously deconstructing the self he was given, one programmed layer at a time. And even then, true autonomy remains a question. This is where it breaks. His escape from Illumi wasn't growth. It was containment, carefully unraveling. It was merely the first step of a longer, more painful excavation. The uncomfortable truth about Killua's struggle with control resonates deeply because you too, at some level, fear true, absolute autonomy. The weight of being completely responsible, completely free to choose wrong, free to fail spectacularly. There's a subtle, almost insidious comfort in having boundaries, even destructive ones, because they define your reality. Then came Aluka, a new dynamic. Killua takes control, fiercely protecting his sister. But is this true self-determination or merely a shift in the object of his deeply ingrained protective programming? He escapes one family prison only to become the guardian of another, equally powerful, equally demanding entity. His control over Nanika is absolute, yet it binds him just as tightly. So what happens when the controller becomes the controlled? You've experienced this, the rush of taking responsibility, the sense of purpose that comes from being needed. But how much of that purpose is truly yours? How much is a reenactment of patterns of control, of obligation, of needing to define yourself through external demands rather than internal desires? This is the Killua paradox mirrored in your own life. Notice the silences around Killua. The gaps in his backstory he doesn't fill. The moments where his emotional reactions are muted or delayed. These aren't character quirks. They are echoes of a mind trained to suppress, to analyze, to prioritize function over feeling. His coolness is a byproduct of profound emotional regulation, not inherent stoicism. Killua is free from Illumi. He is traveling with Aluka. He has made choices. Yet, the question of true unburdened autonomy lingers. Has he found his own why, or has he simply replaced one set of program directives with another, more palatable set? But here's the contradiction. The threads of control are subtle, pervasive, and often self-imposed. They do not simply vanish. Freedom isn't just the absence of external chains. It is the terrifying, exhilarating act of dismantling internal programming. It is the choice to define yourself in a vacuum, without the familiar contours of expectation or the comfort of a pre-written role. This is the struggle Killua continues. Long after the credits roll, a struggle you also silently contend with. It's uncomfortable because it forces you to confront your own foundational truths. Are your motivations truly yours? Or are they echoes of narratives you've absorbed, fears you've inherited, or roles you've been assigned? What defines you when all the external scaffolding is stripped away? What if the real you is simply the most dominant program? Even his kindness, his capacity for deep empathy, can be seen as an extension of the Zoldic's meticulous design. What better way to understand, manipulate targets than to understand their emotional landscape? This isn't to diminish Killua's genuine care, but to highlight the insidious nature of control that can even weaponize a virtue, making it a tool of influence. So what happens when the deepest parts of your identity are not truly original? When the path you carved was merely a deviation within a larger blueprint? Can you ever truly escape the architect's vision, or do you just find a different room in the same house? This is Killua's silent question, a question that extends directly to you. This isn't just about a fictional character. It's about the narratives you've built around your own life, the destiny you believe in, the personality traits you lean on. Are these discovered truths, or are they constructs you've adopted? Perhaps even to avoid the terrifying blank slate of true self-creation. The comfort of a pre-written story can be a powerful trap. Killua Zoldyck represents the ongoing negotiation between design and defiance. He is a testament to the fact that breaking free is not a single event, but a lifelong process of unlearning, of stripping away layers of programmed responses. And even then, some blueprints are etched too deeply to ever be fully erased. The question isn't if you're free, but how free. His journey is not a simple victory, but a continuous question mark. It asks us, if a character can be so perfectly engineered, what does that say about the choices we make, the freedoms we claim? Perhaps the most profound act of defiance isn't to break the cage. It's to finally recognize who built it, and realize it might have been you all along. What do you think? Comment your take and subscribe for more, and realize it might have been you all along. Some lives aren't lived, they are merely echoes of expectations, performances of roles handed down, often before memory begins. You recognize him, Killua Zoldyck, but do you truly comprehend the depth of his fabrication? Killua Zoldyck was not simply raised, he was meticulously engineered, a living weapon sculpted from the earliest moments. Every reaction, every instinct, meticulously cultivated, not discovered. You believe his independence blossomed organically. A natural rebellion against his destined path. A comforting narrative, perhaps, suggesting freedom is an inherent property, effortlessly achieved. But consider Illumi's needle. A crude physical metaphor for the far more insidious, invisible programming woven into his very being from birth. That tiny shard of Nen was merely a failsafe, a reminder of a control system already deeply embedded, an externalization of an internal constraint. You might dismiss this as fiction, a dramatic conceit for a shonen protagonist. Yet, the core truth persists. How many of your own choices are truly yours, untainted by the blueprints laid out for you? Killua chose Gone, not to find himself in some romantic sense, but as a deliberate, painstaking act of rerouting, of breaking the circuit. His journey wasn't about finding himself at all. It was about creating himself, forging an identity from the ruins of a pre-written destiny. constantly questioning if his chosen path was truly his own, or just a more elaborate variation of the program he fought so hard to escape. The struggle to choose, when choice itself might be a pre-programmed illusion, is the heaviest burden of all. It is a burden that demands constant vigilance. To create oneself from nothing means every subsequent action is a self-imposed test, a reaffirmation against the ghost of what was intended. For Killua, Gon was not merely a friend, but the anchor to this new, fragile construct. A chosen dependency, perhaps, a different kind of tether, but one he actively forged. The true terror isn't being overtly controlled, it's believing you've broken free, only to discover your deepest desires, your very definition of liberation, were themselves subtly shaped. He isn't just running from Allumi's needle, he's running from the possibility that even his escape was an anticipated variable. What if the desire for true autonomy, that burning need to define your own path, was the most sophisticated trap of all?